Good morning, everybody. Thank you again for joining me. It is Rapid Fire Friday once again. I am really pleased to be here with you on a Friday morning, 10 o'clock Central every week. I bring you a Rapid Fire Friday. So welcome to our newest community members. And I thank you for my founding members. We are 2.6K strong and growing. And so it's really fun to be able to bring you these weekly episodes of what I call Rapid Fire Friday. So if this is your first one, what I do very quickly is I look at the past week and I find questions, wonderments, scenarios, suggestions, and I bring them to the table for your information. So I hope to offer you a variety of decorating tips and strategies, or it could be something related to growing your business or starting a business from a hobby. As many of you know in the community, my name is Annette Conrad and I'm the owner and lead creative and your virtual instructor from Edible Impressions. It is a company that I founded over 17 years ago from a hobby, which is now a national-wide profitable business. And so after many years of developing the business and creating a team, I feel that I have time now to bring to you a little bit about how I did that. So I'm going to go through 5 questions, wonderments, and scenarios. I'm going to ring the bell after each one, and I tell you it is Rapid Fire Friday. So I'm going to probably talk a little quickly today, but you can always come back and watch the replay. And if you want to binge watch these, you can always go to YouTube. I'm working on developing that station for you. And that brings me right to number 1 question today. So someone posted within the community and said, "Hi, Annette, I was wondering how you're going to handle your classes after Facebook ends video classes on October 22nd. Do you have an alternate site to go to? Thanks for all you do." So just to let you know, I will continue to offer my free master classes on Wednesday evenings at 6:30 Central Time, and then of course Fridays within the community for every Friday. So I'm going to actually start pushing those to YouTube just as a backup location, but be assured after some investigation, the master classes that I've created and my Rapid Fire Fridays are not considered classes on Facebook. They are considered events. So I think we're good. I believe that the events will maintain, but from the very beginning, I've always had them carefully archived in some place, not on social media. So they are safe, they are secure. Don't worry that if you are not able to watch them, or if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have to feverishly watch all of them, no worries, they will be available for your viewing. So thank you so much for that. But yes, you can go to YouTube and just search Edible Impressions and subscribe now. So that would be great. All right, the second one is, I have a question. When bagging up your cookies after they have dried, of course, do you always use plastic bags or a twist tie? I have some cookies sized with Ziploc bags, but I don't know if the zip would be strong as a seal. Would they get hot and cause icing to melt? I have 500 to do. So we'll be making them in stages. Thank you for in advance. So I think really the big question is, how do you keep those cookies safe, secure, and of course fresh until you're ready for delivery, and then of course when they're going to be consumed. So the decision for my company whether to heat seal them or just simply tie them with a bag has everything to do with my clients' needs and expectations. And most ultimately, I will make a recommendation, of course, and most ultimately is, when are they being produced to the delivery to when they're being consumed. So we do make our orders, made to order and as close as we can to the event date or when that client's going to be picking up. But if I know that that client is not going to be distributing those cookies for a couple of days, then absolutely those cookies are going to be heat sealed. But more often than not, when I'm tying with a bag, with a ribbon, and I'm not heat sealing them, they are for the same day or the next day. So they are going to be absolutely fresh because I know that they were made very close to the event date, and there's no worry in that they won't be fresh. But anything that's being shipped out of this business is going to be heat sealed, protected, just for safe shipping, but also for freshness too as well. Really good question. All right, moving on. So help, I'm embarrassed to post this, but I need some ideas. My writing is terrible. My icing was toothpaste consistency. The hole in my tipless bag was small and straight, and I used a projector. I will say that my icing kept curling out of the bag, so I even rebagged, but it was significantly better. So that's one good thing. Maybe I'm just too shaky for this. I feel so defeated. What are some tips for improving my writing? So this question or scenario comes out of a different Facebook group that I'm in, and it's also a beginner group, and I'm a moderator there. And I do have a couple of tips to consider, something to consider when you're handwriting. And honestly, her handwriting looked really nice. It did look a little shaky. She was writing quite a long sentence. So first of all, it was quite a long sentence on a fairly large cookie, but sometimes I always want to say less is more. So shorten up whatever you're lettering on a cookie, because that allows you then to have larger letters, which could be easier, especially for a beginner. And you can also make the hole a little bit bigger. So maybe you think that that hole is still the right size, but if it is coming out squiggly, that could be caused by a couple things. The hole is too small. It could be something wrong with the bag. Maybe it's frayed, especially if you're using a tipless bag. Maybe it's clogged. So that could also be another reason why it's squiggling. It also, of course, could be the consistency. But here's the thing. I would start with, how full is your bag? How full are you filling that piping bag? When I'm hand lettering, I fill less than half, because it allows you to have more control of the bag. When you are lettering, it allows you to be more precise. So look at how much frosting you have in that bag, and I would start there. Of course, the consistency as well, and you want to make sure that there's no lumps in that frosting as well, which could cause some squiggling. The other thing is maybe it's the font. Maybe it's, are you a beginner? Please don't get frustrated. It takes practice, so give yourself some grace. It takes a long time to master lettering. And I'm sure you're being a little bit too hard on yourself, especially if you're just starting out. Keep in mind that these are hand frosted cookies and that your lettering will get better and better as you go. But it could be just the font you're choosing too. It might be more of an intermediate or advanced font. So try a different font. That might take care of if you feel like you have a little bit of shakiness. So try that as well. So a couple just tips and strategies that you can try as you're practicing your hand lettering. And then of course, catch the 2 replays in my master classes under the events section within the community, or if you're under Edible Impressions business page, you can also see the events posted there. Hand lettering with royal icing on April 27th, and hand lettering with the use of a projector was on May 11th. So go back and watch those replays. I think that will help you out tremendously. Okay, so I am cruising today. All right, on to the next one. So I'm going to be attending my first holiday bazaar with my cookies. Can anyone recommend a tray or display case for my setup to optimize them? And so this was a really good question. I know I've talked about, participating in farmers markets and bazaars or fairs, and I went on and on about, okay, what is your why? Why are you doing it? To know, for instance, how many cookies to make, what kind of designs to make, what should my setup be? And the number one thing that I do recommend is understanding what is your why, because that is going to dictate your setup. So when I see this, before you invest in trays and display cases, I would really stop and say, okay, if this is my first bazaar, I've never done one before, don't spend a lot of money on props, because what if you go to this bazaar and it's not something that you enjoyed and it didn't go well? Not to say you don't want to try it again, because if it doesn't go well, it doesn't mean that it won't go well in the future. You need to learn from that first time experience, but don't spend and invest in props until you know for sure that's something that you want to do on a regular basis to be able to get that return. So, so the follow-up question I had was, what is your purpose? Is it for marketing? Is it for selling? Is it for just sheer visibility of your business? And she did respond, or he did respond, and just saying that would love to have my cookies out there to get some orders for the holidays. And so that was a great follow-up, comment. And so what I would recommend for that setup is just use some very simple plates that you already have in your kitchen. The more plain, solid colors so you can show off those designs. I would not have a lot of cookies to sell at that first bazaar. Talk to the host of that event, gather information. Maybe it is an expectation to have samples available. And if they would allow you to, I would definitely have samples for people to taste your cookies, but I would have some live samples and just have some form of the way to obtain that person's information, that you can send them something post bazaar, and that there, you also have a way that you can communicate with them. That I know I've talked about more in depth in my master classes when I've talked about in-person events versus virtual events. So go again to the events section and look at all of the different master classes. Okay, so here is another one. And actually this is the last one. I can't believe it. Okay, so charging what you're worth. I'm fairly new to decorating cookies, so I'm just a little slow, but I kept track of my time for this set and calculated my hourly based on what I charge per dozen. And I'm barely paying myself. So basically what she is doing is she's figuring out how much to charge, or is wondering what she should charge, or maybe she's charged and she's realizing, oh my gosh, for as long as it took me to make that order, I wasn't making anything. So she basically was paying herself minimum wage. Out of curiosity, how long would it take you to complete the set of 20 cookies from bake to box? So she had a picture of the cookies, and I believe there were 3 or 4 designs. They were moons and I think spaceships, and it was a relatively simple, and I say simple because, like I said, I've been doing this a long time, but there were a handful of colors. It looked like they were outlined, flooded, and there was a little bit of detail. So nothing too complex. And I think even a beginner with a little bit of practice could definitely execute that design. But the first thing is, if you're just starting out, I would not necessarily calculate how long it's taking you, and don't worry about that. Just know and embrace the fact that it's going to take you longer to decorate a set of cookies when you're just starting out, okay? So it's really hard. I know it's a bit painful because you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't make any money off that. This is a craft that takes time, and you're going to find that there are going to be designs that are going to be faster. You can, use that as an opportunity. So when you are just starting out, don't try to do all these complex, really intricate designs, because you are going to lose money. You are absolutely going to lose money. So work your way up to those intricate designs. And also some of these more basic designs allow you to master the piping, master the flooding and the consistency, so that when you do go to those more complex, you're going to be super fast on all those basic techniques and all the basics when it comes to frosting and mixing and all that good stuff. So take advantage of those basic designs. And then I will, as a business owner, I will tell you that I do absolutely take into account how long it takes to execute an order. As I mentioned often, I do have a small team, and so I have to, because I'm paying out an hourly fee for each person on my team, and that can add up very, very quickly. So I have to know per cookie what that labor cost is costing, so that I know how to price accordingly, so that I am able to, it goes back to my favorite book called Profit First. It goes back to, with every single order, I know that I'm paying myself, number one, I'm putting money aside for taxes, I'm putting money aside for the business, and I'm putting money aside for payroll and for being able to pay my people on my team, and etc. So there are going to be basically accounts that you're going to want to consider. So yes, you are going to need to consider how long it's taking you. I know I'm going off on a tangent here. I do that often. But it's important information to share with you. So a very basic question about how do I pay myself? You will be patient, start with those basic designs, work your way up, and you will get faster. And then you'll know what to charge, and then make sure you do pay yourself with every single order that you execute. Okay. All right. And let's see, there was one replay on August 3rd that you can watch on that related topic. So, all right, folks, so that is it for Rapid Fire Friday. And just to let you know what's coming up, I know you're probably looking at the events section saying, oh my gosh, she doesn't have anything coming up. Well, I did make an announcement a couple weeks ago that from now through the month of December, my decorating masterclasses are going to kind of just take a break, only because of the time that it takes. and we are fulfilling fairly large orders from now through the middle of December. However, I am still going to join you every Wednesday. This past Wednesday, I did a live Q&A, and it was very fun. We had a handful of folks that had some great questions, so go back and watch the replay. And this Wednesday, I think I'm going to touch a little bit on LinkedIn. We touched on it last Wednesday, but because there were a few people that reached out and said, yeah, LinkedIn might be something that, I want to consider. I'm not sure if it should be a platform that I should be on, but that's what I'm going to talk about this coming Wednesday. So LinkedIn, is it a platform for you? And if yes, I'm going to show you just very few tips for navigation and how to increase your visibility on LinkedIn, which is a great platform, which is one of my favorite platforms to be on. So, and then also looking ahead, October 26th, I will for sure be rescheduling that one. I got a lot going on that day. I've got 3 Halloween virtual events, and I'm going to Carroll College that night to do a small presentation to some MBA students. I'm actually bringing an MBA student on as an intern to come up with a marketing plan or project for, yep, you heard it, LinkedIn. So giving back to the community, giving back an opportunity to a student to have a project that they can kind of put on their portfolio. So I'm really excited about that presentation at Carroll College. So I will be changing that October 26th to probably Saturday, but more to come on that, and just check out the events section, and then we'll go from there. All right, that's it, folks. I hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you on Wednesday. Take care.